My girlfriend and I just spent the last 6 months traveling the world on a $50,000 budget. This $50,000 was in Canadian dollars, by the way, so an equivalent of 36,000 US or 32,000 euros. We explored 10 countries, got our scuba diving certification, rented a van for a month in New Zealand, ate $1 pho in Vietnam and $200 Wagyu in Japan. And all of that while just spending 3/4 of our budget. So all in all, we spent $37,000 Canadian, which comes to just about 27,000 USD or just over 23,000 euros, and that's for the both of us over 6 months. So the idea of this video is to break down, well, how we use that money, what we were able to do in these 6 months, and help you if you're trying to plan a similar trip or even inspire you to do it, because this is the video I needed before leaving that I couldn't find to find, well, what could I base my budget off of? How can I start saving up, and how much might it really cost? So I'll kick off this video by giving an overview of how we spent by categories, where we're able to save, what we splurged on, and then later on in the video I'll break down country by country, what it cost, how much time we spent. I have a full Excel spreadsheet where I was tracking all our expenses to be able to see which countries were the cheapest, which were the most expensive, and just give you a general breakdown of how we did it. Obviously, you could travel for way more money than this, and you could certainly travel for way less, but this I find is just a good middle ground budget where you're able to enjoy, be cheap in some places, but really have a great time all around, and highly recommend if you're interested in doing something like this, a budget of the sort, because you're pretty comfortable and you're able to do a lot of different stuff. I should mention this video is probably going to be on the longer side of things, but feel free to skip at any point. I'll put chapters so you could already jump to the countries if you're just interested in knowing what we spent in certain countries. But I'm going to kick it off with breaking down the different categories and how much each of those categories represented in terms of our total budget and what we spent. So the most expensive part of this trip was transportation costs. So between flights, train, buses, scooter rentals, or camper van, that was definitely the most important cost center. In total, we took 9 flights, so that came to $5,637. And we also had a flight that we paid to Istanbul, but we couldn't take. So in terms of flights, that cost us $6,387. The most expensive flight being the one from Montreal to Vietnam when we started the trip for $2,000. But we got some crazy deals. The best deal we got was a flight from Seoul in South Korea to Paris, which came to $570 for a 15-hour direct flight. We booked that last minute when we realized we couldn't go to Istanbul. So yeah, got some great deals. Also a $105 flight from Malaysia to Singapore. So big range in terms of the price for flights, but definitely was one of the most important costs. But overall, we tried to be cheap when we can and as eco-friendly as we could. Our carbon footprint for this trip is obviously not great because of all the flights we took, but when we were able to travel by land, we did. We took a lot of night buses. In Vietnam, the night buses are incredible. To Cambodia, we took the bus. From Cambodia to Thailand, we took the bus. So we bussed around a lot. We took a lot of scooters too. So we rented a scooter in the north of Thailand, scooters in Indonesia, in Vietnam as well. So that was relatively cheap, and honestly, so good to be able to be free and explore by land by yourself. That was definitely a highlight of the trip. Another big cost was the van in New Zealand, which cost $1,500 plus $1,000 for gas, plus $500 to ferry it from island to island. We'll talk about New Zealand a bit later, but yeah, all in all, for transport, it cost roughly 30% of our budget. Next big center was accommodation. So when we kicked off the trip, we aimed to stay in youth hostels. In Vietnam, it was roughly $15 a night per bed. So for both of us, $30. But we quickly realized that hotel rooms, budget hotel rooms, were like $20 to $25. So for both of us, it was quite a bit cheaper to stay in a hotel room where we had air conditioning, a private bathroom, versus each having a bed in a shared room. So very quickly, we kind of abandoned the idea of youth hostels, which was kind of unfortunate. We were kind of excited with the idea to just meet people on the trip, but we had some bad experiences, just some like party hostels that we couldn't sleep all night, and we were just way more comfortable in a hotel room. So yeah, for that in Southeast Asia, number one tip, Agoda. We were able to find some amazing deals. Agoda.com, there's the cashbacks too. So all in all, we got a couple $100 back throughout the trip. So yeah, that was honestly a great platform to find good prices. If not, we used a mix of Airbnb and Booking.com as well to find where we're going to stay. I'll break down later on the prices per country, but yeah, we're looking at $20, $25 in Vietnam and Cambodia, $30 to $40 in Thailand, Malaysia. Singapore went up, and then Japan, we're looking at like $178 to $200 a night. So the range was pretty important. Okay, so yeah, for accommodation overall, we priced it in at like $8,000 for the trip, representing 20% of the budget. The next part, also at 20% of the budget, was food. Food was a big, important part of this trip for us. So we went from like, $1 snacks in Vietnam to Cambodia with like 50-cent happy hour pints of beer. We really had a big range. We had Wagyu in Japan. That was probably our most expensive meal for like $200. But then we kind of tried to balance it out with going to 7-Eleven and having their famous egg sandwich or their onigiris or whatever we could find that was more affordable to keep the price low. And then finally, the last 30% of the budget was for everything experiences, activities. We had like big ticket items, our scuba diving certification. We did a half marathon in Angkor Wat. We did cooking classes, a Muay Thai class, tons of museums throughout the world, massages, a spa day, mountain biking. Anyways, we did a bunch of different stuff, but that represented the last 30%. And could have been more, but we did a bunch of free activities as well that we'll dive into it when we do the breakdown per country. But overall, that's kind of how we separated it by category. We didn't set out a specific budget per category, by the way. It's just in retrospect, I was able to break it down by 30, 20, 20, 30 to give you an idea of what it costs us overall. But I think what's going to be more helpful now is that we dive in country by country and look at what it cost. All right, so before getting into the first country, which was Vietnam, we have to consider the cost before leaving. So the flight from here, the vaccines we had to get, as well as medical insurance, that came to a total of $4,576, even before we left the country. So then we went to Vietnam. We were there for 24 days, and it came to $2,800 for the both of us. So for an average of $116 per day. It was one of the tastiest countries. We loved the food. I didn't know how much I enjoyed Vietnamese food. Absolutely amazing, super fresh. Hanoi is a foodie heaven. Highly recommend it. The hotels, in terms of accommodations, like I was saying earlier, $20 to $30 a night is what we're paying. In terms of our biggest highlights of activities, a 3-day motorcycle trip in the mountains in the north, the Ha Giang Loop. Awesome. We did a 1-day catamaran boat trip in Cat Ba. It's like Ha Long Bay, but right beside, a bit more affordable, equally as nice. That was a beautiful day on the water. Highly recommend. The museums. We did the War Museum in Ho Chi Minh City to learn about the Vietnam War. Really important, and it really marked us. We visited the Cu Chi tunnels. That was really interesting as well. Vietnam was awesome, but I think the biggest highlight was definitely the food. We did a cooking class too. If we could go back, I think I would appreciate the prices more, just how affordable it was. We were starting there, so we didn't have any benchmark, but looking back, it was the cheapest place we visited. So we could have spent more time and just kept our budget really low by staying there. But we moved on to Cambodia. So in Cambodia, we spent 11 days there, it came to $1,593, so roughly $145 per day. Food was a bit more expensive, but still relatively very affordable. Things were priced in USD at a lot of places. And so just because of that, for Canadian dollar, it was a bit more expensive. But hotels, same price range, $25 to $35. And then, the more expensive stuff we did a half marathon, so that came to $200 to sign us up. The 3-day pass to Angkor Wat was another $200. We did a cooking class here again to learn how to cook Khmer food, which was a big highlight. I kind of learned to speak Khmer. That was like something that was intimidating for me. In every country, we really tried to pick up the language as much as we could, but also made a video on like basics of Khmer if you want to check that out. The country with the nicest people, like Cambodia marked us for that by far. People living there, anyone above the age of 50 or 60 lived through a genocide, and they are just the kindest people. It was awesome to meet locals and just discover Cambodia. Definitely a big highlight of ours. Next up, we went to Thailand. So we were in Thailand for 26 days, spent $3,242, coming to $124 a day for both of us. So still relatively cheap. Accommodations had more expensive, $30 to $40 range here. We did Muay Thai classes, Thai massage, which I really discovered is my favorite type of massage. We visit temples. We did a week-long motorcycle trip around Christmas in the north, going to Mae Salong. Leaving from Chiang Mai up to Mae Salong, going to Chiang Rai and then back. Really awesome, visiting the tea fields, the coffee plantations. Awesome time. Another cooking class in Thailand as well. The north we really enjoyed. We didn't like Bangkok as much, and we didn't explore the south at all. So on a future trip, that'd be something good to see. But we really spent most of our time in the north. After that, we went to Malaysia. So here we were kind of stuck because we weren't sure where we're going, and it was New Year's Eve, and we got a pretty last-minute flight. But here flights were pretty expensive because hotel prices in Thailand were going up like crazy. There was flooding in the south, so we were considering going there, but it didn't end up working. So we flew to Kuala Lumpur on the 31st of December to spend New Year's Eve in Malaysia.
3, 2, 1, Happy New Year!
So we're in Malaysia for 8 days. It cost us $1,667 for a price of $208 per day. The flight was $560 for both of us when normally it was like 100 something, so much more expensive than it should have been. And if we remove the flight, it would have come to $137 a day for Malaysia. So we're kind of in line with the last 3 countries in terms of price. Accommodation, same thing, $30 to $40 range. And it's super, like Malaysia, I had no idea what to expect. Super interesting blend of cultures. The Malay, Chinese, Indian mix was really awesome. The food was great. Great food scene in Penang and Georgetown that we discovered. A bunch of street vendors making some awesome meals. So really enjoyed that and would have liked to have more time in Malaysia to be able to go out of the cities and explore a bit. It was just 8 days and we'd have to go back next time to explore more. After that, we flew to Singapore. Singapore, we figured it would be one of the most expensive places on our trip. So we only booked for 4 nights before our next destination. But finally, we did it relatively affordably. So we're there 4 days, $622 in total for $155 a day. So a bit more expensive, but really not that much more. We really realized it can be done on the cheap. The most expensive part was the accommodation. So we had the cheapest we could find was essentially a bunk bed, a type of capsule pod that came to $90 a night in a shared room with 6 other beds. But it was fine. It did the trick. And then essentially we just had a bunch of free activities. I think we just did free activities in Singapore. We went to the Spectra Light and Water Show, which was awesome. Gardens by the Bay, Marina Bay Sands, you could walk around for free. The Apple Store on the water is definitely worth checking out. We got a free ticket for the Art Science Museum. We went to the National Gallery of Singapore, which also you could walk around in a park for free and learn about the history of the museum and the architecture of it, which was awesome. Chinatown. Anyways, it was raining most of the time we're in Singapore, unfortunately, so we had to mostly stick to indoor activities. There was the botanical gardens we want to check out, but it was just soaking wet, so we didn't go. But 4 days was perfect, and really enjoyed Singapore. Definitely worth checking out if you're in that area of the world. Indonesia was next. Indonesia, we went for 18 days. Cost us $3,798 for $211 a day. So here we busted the $200 a day mark. But one thing to take into account, we did our scuba diving certification, our PADI scuba certification, which cost $1,200. So if we remove that, it would come to $144 a day. So once again, staying in those average prices. Same thing for accommodation, $30 to $40 a night. We didn't like Bali at all. We started in Kuta, which was quite touristy and like very dirty. We moved around quite a bit in Bali. We went to Ubud. We went to Canggu, but not our cup of tea. What we did really like though was Gili Islands. That's where we did our scuba diving certification. That was awesome. We had a pretty great time. There's no cars. There's just horse carriages and electric scooters and bikes on the island. It's pretty small. It was a great time. Unfortunately, I fell sick. I got the flu. So I had to interrupt our scuba diving to just rest for like 4 or 5 days. And that kind of messed up our whole programming because we wanted to go to Lombok, which is the neighboring island to Bali, which we heard great things, but unfortunately we couldn't go. But if we were to do it again, I think I would much prefer going to Lombok versus Bali. It sounds way more natural and nice and peaceful than Bali was. The traffic in Bali is terrible. It's trying to be something that it's not, and didn't really like it. Anyways, moving on to New Zealand. New Zealand, we were there for 40 days. It cost us $7,034 for $175 a day. So New Zealand, it was kind of the unexpected part of the trip. We weren't sure we were going to go, but I have one of my best friends that lives there, and we weren't sure if he's going to still live there in a couple of years or not. And we figured, well, look, we're in that corner of the world. Might as well go pay him a visit and check out New Zealand, as it was on the top of Noemi's bucket list. We were very fortunate because New Zealand could be very expensive, but we did a bunch of stuff to do it on the cheap. So when we got there, first of all, my friend hosted us for like a week, so we didn't have to stay in a hotel for the first week. Then we went on a boat trip with him. He has a sailboat, and we slept on the sailboat for 3 nights, which was an awesome experience. And then we rented a van from a friend of a friend, which we paid $1,500 for a month, whereas normally it might cost like $8,000 for a van for the month. So saved a ton of money on that front. The van wasn't perfect. It broke down. The electricity didn't work. The water tank didn't work. So it wasn't perfect, but still, it was cheap. And we were able to do our trip around the North and South Island. Most campsites were free as well. Sometimes we had to pay because we couldn't find a free one, and that was like $20 to $50 a night. But overall, we were able to do it on a relatively good budget. I don't think that's the case for everyone. We did meet people that were trying to do on a budget, but you have to kind of be creative if you want to do New Zealand on a budget, because it could get real expensive real quick. The hikes were incredible. We had crazy views on the road trip. We climbed a volcano. We had the chance to see some like super rare birds, kias. and just living in a van for a month was an awesome experience. So 100% worth it. And well, thank you to Matteo for for making it possible for us. After that, we went to Japan. Japan, we were there for 15 days, cost $5,924 for $394 per day. By far the most expensive destination we went to. Hard to do on the cheap. We were coming to the tail end of our trip by now, and we didn't know where to go after New Zealand. Japan was like on the top of my bucket list, and we were doing relatively really good on the budget. So we figured, well, might as well go. Had no idea how much it would cost, but yeah, it kind of took a dent, but still, we came in overall great on the budget. It was $170 on average for like around the cheapest hotels we could find. We wanted to try the food, and food was... some stuff was pretty affordable, but it could get quickly expensive if you want to have like Wagyu or nice sushi or whatever. So yeah, we didn't... We did some nice restaurants, but then we kept it cheap by going to 7-Eleven quite a bit. And yeah, some other stuff to note, like museums weren't super accessible in Japan. If you don't speak Japanese, for English speakers, it was pretty limited, which was unfortunate. And overall, I had a vision of Tokyo that was like a futuristic city. But it's kind of a futuristic city for the 80s. It's kind of stuck in the past, and yeah, it was not what I expected. So happy I went, but weirdly enough, not a big highlight, despite that I love Japanese food and we ate super well. Yeah, not like number one recommendation. Anyways, after that, we went to South Korea. South Korea, it was just like we were right beside, so figured we should go. And it was actually awesome. We were there 6 days, spent $1,585 for $264 a day. Prices were generally fine, $120 a night for accommodation. But best part, museums were free, and some of the best museums we've seen in the world, like by far. It was awesome. We did the Museum of History, Museum of Contemporary History, the War Memorial, the National Museum of Korea, the National Museum of Modern Art, the Education Museum, and the Design Plaza. All free. And like just super well done, beautiful architecture in some of the museums. Yeah, just a huge highlight for us. The food was also great. People were super nice. We just stayed in Seoul. If we were to go back, we'd want to go out. There's forest fires happening in the south, to another place we wanted to go. And it was short, so we just stayed in Seoul. But another time we'd want to go around, hike. There's some amazing hikes and nature in South Korea. But yeah, highly recommend. And then after that, we were supposed to go to Istanbul, Turkey. But there was some, and I think it's still taking place, some political uprising, some large protests. And honestly, we were just like pretty exhausted from traveling and moving around so much that we decided to, check where we could go to kind of just relax. And we found a direct flight from Seoul to Paris for, let me get this right, it was $570. 15-hour flight, direct, $570. I did not, we literally booked it 12 hours before getting on the plane. I did not know these last-minute deals existed. I don't know if it was actually a last-minute deal. It wasn't branded that way. Anyways, we found it and we were like, holy smokes, that is a very, very good price. And Noemi's family lives on the outskirts of Paris. So we figured, you know what, we could go there, stay at her parents' place and kind of like chill. And finally, that's pretty much what we did for the last month of the trip. We stayed there, took it easy. So budget-wise, it didn't come to much. We were in France for 33 days, cost us $2,437 or $73 a day. Most of this cost comes from a 4-night excursion in Paris per se, where we wanted to do a little like long weekend getaway, and like do some restaurants and stuff. But yeah, the cheapest. The problem was the euro to CAD conversion really hurt us. So overall, very cheap because we were staying don't know, 28 nights rent free pretty much at our parents' place. But then the nights we did stay in Paris were way more expensive, and just restaurants overall and groceries crept up quite quickly. So yeah, there you go. Then we came home to Montreal, and that's it. We spent $37,000 on our $50,000 budget. We could have done other stuff and to spend more, but we wanted we were happy to keep a good buffer. 25% not spent was really nice. And I think whenever you're planning a budget like this, you want to make sure you don't spend it all. You want to stay within it, and 25% is a super healthy margin to stay within. So yeah, I think to sum it up, if you're planning something like this for depending where you live in the world, the budget we had, I think, makes sense. You could check out, like, if you're looking at certain countries, to help you give a better idea of what pricing looks like in 2025. But hope this is helpful. Hope it's useful. It's definitely one of the longest videos I've made. But if you watched this far, thank you. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you're interested in seeing more from me. And yeah, you might want to check these out if these might be of interest. And in any case, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.